In this episode, I'm working on my FJ45 Baz, putting the body back together with a bunch of new parts, seals and upgrades. I also make and install some custom driveline parts and give you a bit of an update on where the build is at. G'day guys, and welcome back to another episode. Today is exciting because I'm starting to work on Baz again. I have had the car out and I have done some work to it before I started this episode. I had a few bits and pieces laying around the shed that needed fitting, so the brakes and wheel bearings and stuff like that I've already sorted out. What we're going to be focusing on in this video is the interior in particular. I've got all of the windows to put back in. I've got sound deadening to do, which is up in those boxes. All of the doors to put back together and all of that. At some stage in this video, I will put it up on the hoist. I'll give you a look around and I'll show you what else I've been up to in the meantime while I haven't been filming. So first thing that I need to do is this car doesn't have any windows in it. Because they're out at the moment, it's a really good opportunity to get them tinted, especially when I can't take the car to a tinting place to get it done because it doesn't drive. So first thing I'm going to do is give these a good clean up, load them into the car and take them to a bloke around the corner that can tint them for me. So this is the rear window. Over here on my spares box shelf, I have got some Bowden's window cleaner. Bowden's make pretty good products and you can find them on Sparesbox and you can use my code POOLY5 for a discount. It's like it's gonna come up all right. I've got a few stickers and things on here that I need to get off. I'll show you how I do that. The best way, get a razor blade, preferably a new one. This is a crusty one. Just scrape the bulk of it off with that. It's actually coming off a lot easier than I thought because it's so old. An old mate that's tinting the windows could probably do this, but make it a little bit easier for him. Amazing how many little spots of sharp stuff there is on this. I'm nearly gonna have to just go over the whole thing with the razor blade. Righto. Pretty much, I'll go through, do that to the other side, do all the other ones. I'm gonna load them up into the car, take them to my window tint guy, and then yeah, I'll move on to the next bit. There we go. All cleaned up and packed in the car. Gone and worked out which side's the outside of all these windows as well and wrote it on there, just because the tint has to go on the inside and the bloke tinting them is probably not gonna know which is which, so yeah, put it on there for him. I've cleaned up, this is the front windscreen. I might even put that back over on the shelf and then I'm gonna get it stuck into this interior, so how did that get there? I might roll the car out into the open a bit since it's on these Kincrome dollies and then give it a quick clean out. Then I'll get stuck into sound deadening the inside of this cab. Now that I've removed all the stuff from in this cab, I need to give this actually all a good clean out. Though it looks nice and new and clean, there's a lot of dust and stuff on there, and this sound deadening is a peel and stick product, so I want to make sure that it's going to stick properly. I've got a few boxes of it here. I've got some more on the shelf. I've got some that have already been opened and used. If you haven't ever seen this stuff before, I'm sure most of you guys are probably familiar with this. They've been around for a while. I've got this in my Gold Ute. I've had it in there for 3 years and it's really good. It's a peel and stick product, so you just peel the backing off, stick it, but you've got to roll it down. So it is a little bit time consuming, but basically it's a sound deadener. So it takes that tinniness out of your car's body and it also insulates it. So that's a big thing. My Gold Ute paired with tinted windows on a hot day, you leave it parked out in the sun. I mean, I've got my roof, my doors, my floor, every inch of what I could get to is done. And yeah, it's really good. These old things, this is not going to make it like my 79, obviously, but it's going to give it a fighting chance. So I'm not going to film the whole thing, but yeah, I'll show you how it works and then I'll rip into it and get it done. In my little box here, I've got the car builder's knife and that thing, that's the roller. So that's what we're working with. It's just a thin sheet of, I don't even know what it's made out of, but soundproofing stuff. You obviously just peel that off. stick it down, and yeah, away you go with your roller.
So I peel the back off and stick it down, and then it's time to roll it. You want to make sure you roll this stuff down well. I'm planning to drive this car through water, so I want to make sure there's no air pockets underneath where water can get to in the future. I also use steel rulers to measure and cut out the more complicated areas, and this is what makes it time consuming.
A bit of a test fit, look at that. It's going to fit pretty good, so yeah, basically repeat the process for the entire thing. So I stayed here pretty late last night, got most of this area done, and one door. I've actually left the other side door on purpose just so I can show you today, and also compare a little bit of a sound comparison from one side door to the other. So this will give you a bit of an idea of what the sound deadening actually does. So if you look at this, obviously this has got sound deadening in it. We go around to this side, no sound deadening on this one. So as you can sort of hear there, it makes a massive difference. Just takes that tinniness out of it. I guess the sounds of the tyres, the road, the motor, everything sort of echoes off these panels and makes it loud in the cab. It's like you're driving along in a tin shoebox. It's still going to be like that because that's what it is, but it's going to be a little bit better. So that's the whole purpose of this sound deadening. I've gone and, you know, cut all these pieces out. It's a real time consuming job, and that's why I didn't film the entire thing on the camera. I've tried to make it look pretty good. It's not perfect, but you know, even in behind the speakers, it's important to do stuff like that. Up the firewall, spent a bit of time cutting little pieces out. I'll give you a quick look at how I do this door. Obviously, to get that in there is a bit of a pain in the ass. I've got this hole here, and I mean, this is similar to like my 79 or any car. There's always, you know, a few holes to get your hands in. What's been working for me is I've been cutting these exactly in half and then just feeding them through this hole and then sort of getting my hand in there, and yeah. So I've got my half sheet there. Hardest part's trying to keep it from accidentally sticking. Put that there, just got to miss where the door handle goes. Then I'm just using my hand to try and press it down as much as possible. Get it as good as I can with my hand, and then use the roller as well. I'm sort of limited to where I can get. And pretty much just do that bit by bit until I've got it fully covered, and then I can move on to the next step. All right, so now that I've got the sound deadening all sorted, I'm going to move on to the next step. So I've just gone and unboxed these 4 boxes here. I do have a little bit more than this, still a few boxes over there, just double ups of these things, but these are the 4 products that I'm using. So this is like an insulation layer. I'm going to be using this underneath the roof. I may even put some sound deadening on before I put that on. It's probably not necessary, but I do have a few more boxes of it left. I've got heaps, so I could do it. This here is a 4-way stretch carpet. I've got it in a black. I'm going to keep that away from the floor because I don't want to use carpet on the floor, although it says that it is mold resistant. I plan on getting water inside this cab for driving, so I'm going to go for a custom cut vinyl floor, which will come later. This is an acoustic liner. This is more like a carpet underlay. Oh, it even says it on the box. I'll put this on the back wall, maybe a bit on the firewall. This stuff here is a mass noise liner. This is like a thick rubber mat, and what I'll be using it for is the floor. So this stuff is waterproof and all the rest of it. So basically I'll have to try and template, cut it out to suit the floor. I may even hold off until I get my floor mat so I can sort of make it all match. But yeah, that stuff will go down in the floor pan, and then the vinyl will go on top of it, and it'll give it that sort of spongy factory feel. And if I ever have water in the cab, mud gets in there, whatever, I'll just have to unbolt the seats and take that all out, and then the vinyl floor will come up. The mass liner mat will just come out, and I've been told I can just rinse it off with the hose and leave it in the sun, and yeah, it doesn't actually absorb the water. It's just big, basically a big kind of sheet of rubber. So in their little fitting box, they give you a little pack of razor blades. Don't try and make the razor blade last. They have been going blunt on me. Once it starts going blunt is when it starts getting hard work. So don't be afraid to change them. They give you a whole pack of them, and then it'll cut beautiful like that. Do a little test first to see if it fits. Looks pretty spot on. So you get the idea, pretty straightforward. Cut it to size, peel and stick. Whoa, righto, so there we go. I've just finished doing that back wall. It actually doesn't look too bad on there. Most of this here is going to be covered obviously by the seats. They'll sit hard against the back. Gotta try and get as much leg room as I can because it's not a really big cab. I did have that carpet to go over there. I had 2 rolls, one for the back wall and one for the roof. Because of all this structure going on here, I'm a bit concerned about if I'm actually going to be able to do it because it's not that straightforward. So I had a watch of the car builders guys doing it in their video and I decided to whip the roof off and have a bit of go on the roof first. So I've just finished doing the roof. I put down a layer of sound deadening. Then I done a full layer of insulation, and that's to give it that kind of spongy feel. I wanted it to have a factory spongy feel. Now that I've done it, I actually wish that I had it done 2 layers. It would have made it that little bit spongier, but yeah, this wasn't too bad to do. In fact, it's actually come up really good, but this is flat. And it does mold around these ribs and stuff quite easily, but I just think that it's not gonna work on this back wall. The guys at Car Builders told me that I'd be able to do it, but I've got doubt in my own skills that I'll be able to do it and it'll look nice. There's no real reason that it needs to go on there other than looks, and I think that that looks good. So yeah, I'm gonna leave that like that. Got a big box of rubbers and seals here, so I'm gonna have to try and fish out this one that goes on the roof. I'm gonna try and get this roof back on and then start assembling the doors and the rest of the cab. So basically I've gone and got a full rubber kit here. I haven't got like for the actual joins in between the cab there, but I've got all the door seals, all the window seals, roof seal, a few other little ones that I picked out like this. And yeah, I'm just gonna give the whole thing a freshen up. I believe these seals are made in Australia, so hopefully they're good. I've got bonnet rubbers, rubber grommets for the firewall. They sell all this stuff individually, so I went through the website and just picked out what I needed. Even like that there for the factory heater hoses, Bailey channels and weathered strips for the doors. Whoa! These are for the bonnet where it sits on, and I think that there's what I'm looking for to put this roof back on.
Gave the roof lining a good clean and then attempted to put the roof back on the car by myself. This wasn't an easy process, but I made it work. And then, of course, Rod walks in with his daughter right as I finish and could have gave me a hand. Oh well, at least Pixie was impressed.
Is that a cool roof? Wow!
Started bolting up a few of these little bits and pieces that were sitting around. Have a look at this. Whoa. Gesso seat, some sun visors and stuff to go up there yet, but thought I might leave them out of the road until the windscreen's in. Got a windscreen guy coming and putting a new windscreen in the front. Had a little play with these back windows and I couldn't get them in, so I'm gonna actually just pay this guy to install the back windows for me as well. But what I am gonna do is install the door windows and put the rest of the door together. So just been going through a few parts, and on the bench here I've got, yeah, pretty well everything sort of laid out left and right, ready to go in. These I got online somewhere, can't remember where, might have been Mr. Land Cruiser. That's a whole new door handle and lock. And bezels, I've gone for black, so I want to black everything out here. New handles and clips. These parts here I got from Terrain Tamer, so they do a door lock kit, which does, you know, both sides, all the moving components and handles as well. I got new lock and barrel kits for the doors. Got window regulators here, some old parts there to put back, and these window channels, which I've just got all the old bits of window out of. This stuff here is the Bailey channel for the window. It's like the felt stuff that the window slides up and down on. So it's been a long time since I pulled these apart, so I've got absolutely no idea how they go back together. I think I'll start with the handle and the lock, and then, yeah, try and get the glass in there with the regulator at the same time. It's going to be a bit of a pain to do, only because, yeah, I just can't remember how it goes together. It's pretty hard to find information online because they're so old. Don't have door cards yet, but they are coming. Got some custom ones. The old ones are there somewhere, but they're buggered. So if I can work it out and make it look easy, I might just try and do a door Then I'll show you the other side once I've worked it out.
I thought it would be easy to take the doors off the car and assemble them on the bench. I start with the easy bits like the lock and the door handle, and any of the adjustable bolts I leave loose until I know it's going to work. A slight bend with the pliers was required to make everything work smoothly, and I think this was due to the patina and my doors being a bit beaten up. The new handle mechanism goes on, also adding a P-clamp to help it operate a bit smoother and not rattle later on. Now it was time for the glass, so I got that in there and installed the weather strips. The new felt goes in. This come in a couple of pieces. I had to trim it to suit, and then I could push the window back up and install the bottom runner. The window regulator goes in with the new handle to line it up, and once that's done, I just make sure it works before moving on to the seal. The new seal didn't come with any adhesive, so I'm using some glue that I already had. There's probably an easier way to do this, but I know this is going to hold once it's set. Then I had Rod here, so I got him to give me a quick lift and we put the door back on the car.
All right, so she's all back together and on the car. The reason I've gone and bolted the door onto the car as well as the other one that I already done earlier is I wanted to bolt it on there and shut the door on the seal. Because I've put that glue on there, it's pushing it down nicely, and I'm gonna leave that overnight and that's gonna dry in the right spot and be, yeah, really strong.
With the windows freshly tinted, it was time for them to go in. Paying close attention to how it's done, a thick rope was used and no lubrication. I actually attempted to do this myself and gave up. Where I went wrong was I had a thin rope, I lubricated them, and I was also trying to get them to the second lip on the seal. So this seal actually has 2 different lips, and I was going for the wrong one.
Let's put the window wipers back on. New windscreen in there. These door cards are available at LCS 4x4. They are a ABS plastic. They're etched, and these ones are painted like a 2-tone colour, which is what I wanted. They have a few different options, but yeah, really loving how this come up. I seen a car in at LCS that had this colour combo and I just loved it, so I copied it. So I bought these all in black, just sort of some of the reason I got all new bits, because I did have a lot of bits, but they were various colours, grey and old, and yeah, they wouldn't look nice. So blacked out handles to match in with that. So it's looking really nice. Obviously the other side's together. And right now I've grabbed the camera and turned it on because I'm working out these gear sticks. So I wanted to show you, there's a little bit of thinking, a bit of muck around here. I've bent this transfer stick into a bit of an S and it works really good where it is there. I may need to bend that one a little bit more, but it's gonna work. What I was going to use is this. This is a aftermarket universal gear stick boot. That's a smaller one for the transfer. They have these plates that go on them. Pretty straightforward. What I've actually ended up going with is much better. I just didn't like how crap they looked. This here is a VDJ 79 gearbox boot setup. So they consist of 3 parts. That one goes underneath. That one goes over there like that, and you bolt it all down and it's really well sealed. And then because I'm doing a custom cut vinyl floor, you can cut it, so then that actually goes over it and hides the cut bit, and just it'll look very factory. It's also designed for that gearbox because that gearbox in the car is out of a V8 79. So what I'm now trying to do is, this looks a bit mangled up, got to smooth it out a bit yet, but before it looked like this. It was basically like a round curve for the tunnel in a 79. I flattened it back out and then I've put it over here. I've gone and marked it straight and square and nice looking. And then I've taken it to the bench and I've just bent it there and brought it back and tried it. The next thing I done was I measured from there to there and there to there and sort of just marked both stick positions onto this panel, and I've sat it on there. I've marked around these because I need to cut holes out of it. And now I'm going to cut these holes out and then I'm going to drill and nutsert that, and hopefully with a bit of luck it should just all bolt together and fit and work. I don't have a plasma cutter, I only got welders, so I'm gonna have to do this the hard way, which isn't necessarily a hard way because this is already painted, so it's gonna be the nicer way, but hole saw the corners to get the radius, and then I'll just get the angle grinder and just cut the straight bits out, and then I've got a little tool that should clean it up.
Putting a little bit of paint on the edge just to help stop it from rusting. Then I'm just using M6 nut certs to actually hold the boot down. Then I thought while I was on the bench it'd be nice and easy to do the sound deadening, so traced around it and rolled some down onto it.
All right, so that's what it looks like. Got the car builders on there. I flipped it over the other way and drew around it to mark that all out, and I've cut out around for all the holes. Don't mind my electrical tape Band-Aid. This bit here is going to need some work yet. It's not perfect, but we'll get there. Rubber gasket that goes on there. I'm going to screw it down, and then I need to work out this bit here. I'm going to have to panel beat it to the shape and do the last 2 holes. All right, off to a good start. Once I bolt this big plate down, it'll be staying there, so.
And just like that was one more job ticked off the list. Now while I'm waiting for some other parts for the interior, I thought I'd put the car on the hoist and get stuck into some other jobs. The first job was to remove this old rod end and make way for my new drag link. This new drag link is custom made and I was pretty keen to see how it fitted. Next up, I pressed some studs into a custom drive shaft adapter that I had machined. I'll talk about this in a second when I walk around the car.
So steering's all hooked up now. Patrol steering box, custom drag link. Haven't talked about this yet, but this is from Stavweld Engineering, and actually Laurie from LCS organised it for me. Got a tie rod on the back as well. So these are, custom machined alloy links, obviously cruiser ends in this one. 105 series this end, GU Patrol the other end. I swapped the steering wheel last night. I'll give you a look at that too. Drive shafts are in. These are custom made from GJ drivelines. When I started working out the lengths, I realised that my transfer case is actually exactly in the middle of the car. So the distance from the front flange to the front diff and the back flange to the back diff is literally the exact same, or within about 5 mil. On a cruiser transfer, the rear output bolt pattern is different to the front one. It's slightly bigger. I thought it'd be so good if they could be the same shaft. So I've done a bit of ringing around, a bit of research, and I managed to find this multi-hole output flange for the front diff. So that was the diff end sorted. I just unbolted that, bolted that one on. But then on the transfer, the front output shaft of these transfers, it's part of the transfer case. So the rear one, if I was to take that off, I can just undo a nut and I can take that flange off, and I could have, I don't know, drilled it out on the bench, and you could change that one. But this front one, not so easy. You've actually got to sort of disassemble the transfer case, and it all comes apart from the inside. I drew this spacer in CAD. I found the part number for these rear studs. I measured them all up, and I made it so I could press in the studs to the spacer. It's made out of a piece of stainless. The reason why I went stainless is because I didn't know if aluminium was going to actually be strong enough, because this isn't as thick as a normal tail shaft spacer. I've tried to keep it as thin as possible. So I've gone with a stronger material. And then the second reason I went stainless is because I didn't want to have to paint it and I didn't want it to rust. And basically, I can just bolt that on there and that'll just stay like that. I found a guy in Melbourne and he machined it up for me. And then I just pressed the studs in yesterday, bolted it all up, and it fitted perfectly first go. So stoked with that. So what this means, I've now gone and got my tail shafts made up, and the front and rear are the same shaft. The reason that I've done this is because if I'm away somewhere, let's just say I'm in Queensland on a trip and I break my rear tail shaft, dent it, bend it, whatever happens, I'm not going to be able to get one. I can't just go find a shop and buy one or even get one sent to me. Like, it has to be custom made. So if I do a rear tail shaft, for starters, I could pull the front one out and put it in the rear. But on top of that, I've actually got a spare one made up. I'm going to be putting this under the tray somewhere. It'll have its own little spot and it'll be carried at all times with me. So if I ever do front or a rear shaft, I'll be able to get that one out from under the tray and bolt it in. Obviously, being able to make custom shafts, I've used the biggest unis that we could fit on here. This is a heavy wall tube, and yeah, big, strong Aussie shaft. The ultimate goal is I don't want stuff to be custom on this car. And I mean, it seems really silly to say it when you look at the thing. This is modified, but it's a 200 series caliper, 200 series brake disc. I'll be able to buy that. Even like these bushes in these arms, I've used rubber on the chassis end. It's a patrol style rear bush, so if I flog them out, I can just buy a patrol bush and press it in, doesn't matter where I am. Plan from here now is, I've let the hoist down, I've checked bumps clearance on the tail shaft, it was mint. I've got a little bit of a tight clearance between this shaft and the chassis rail. It does clear, but it gets really close, and when you turn the wheels to the left, it gets really, really close. Gonna take some caster measurements, and I might actually take a little bit of caster out and change these radius arms up a little bit. Doesn't have to happen straight away. They're just a bolt-in part, so yeah, I can do that later, but I'm ready for bump stops. So I wanna get the bump stops in there. I'm gonna have to grind back a bit of paint. I think I've talked about this already, but I'm just gonna mask everything up, grind back a small section, sort the bump stops out, and then I'll do some touching up with some paint. I'm kind of glad I haven't rushed and put a set of coils in it. I would've got the wrong spring weights because the car's not finished. It's been really easy to check clearances on things. I've just been letting it up and down on the hoist. Without coils in it, I can go straight to the bumps and yeah, check it all. So the steering was sort of the last thing. I'm gonna have to do some sort of sway bar in the front. That's another issue that I've got to worry about, but I'll work that around wherever the bump stops are set at. So yeah, once the bumps and the coils are in, that is pretty much done. So from here, I'm gonna start working on the motor. I've got a lot of engine bolt-ons. I've got pipe work, exhaust, intake, intercooler. Let's have a look. Oh, can't get over how nice that door opens. This is the steering wheel, just a SAS one. I would have actually loved to keep the standard steering wheel, but they're really big for Armstrong steering. And this affects when you get in the car, you're trying to fit your legs through here. Not a lot of room in this car, so smaller steering wheel is better. It's also shortened and pushed up towards the dash using a custom shaft. So this is a big radiator. It's going to be going back here. I'm toying with the idea of mounting the radiator to the cab instead of to the tray. I don't want to screw myself over. If I ever need to remove the tray, imagine if I mount the radiator to the tray, it means I have to drain the coolant to take the tray off. So what I'm thinking about is trying to mount it to this back wall, which is pretty solid. And if I pick up the right points and do it the right way, I think it should work really well, and then I can make up hard stainless lines to the front of the car. So that's one of the next things. I've also got to mount a battery tray in here somewhere where I'm going to put 3 lithium batteries, 2 for 24-volt winch, 1 to run the car. And then yeah, the tray will just be built around it. So the airflow I've got to work around with, the radio's got to be out off the wall a fair way, and I'm going to try and put a little chute on there. But yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. And if you're keen to see Baz on the road, make sure you subscribe, because it's starting to get close. It's been 4 years I've been building this car now, so there is a lot of work. So I just kind of been getting the jobs done, picking up the camera and giving updates and filming what I can. But yeah, she's coming along, and I'll see you on the next episode and we'll get started on this engine.